Hi, I'm Alexia Casale. I'm an author and I run a young adult literature festival, and I'm here to talk about my experiences of bullying. I was just one of those people I was always different, and there was always something, and when they kind of got over one thing there was always another thing. So as a small kid I had really terrible eczema. I had to start wearing a bra really early, like when I was 7, and I got my periods not very long after, and that was really weird to everyone else because they were all still very prepubescent. What I was wearing was wrong, or my dad's family is Jewish, so there was some really weird stuff about noses and about my name being the wrong name. And then my mum's family is Italian, so I would say hello by hugging and kissing people, and that was all wrong, and people thought that was deeply weird. At one point someone nicked a stamp from the library and they stamped it across my forehead with this red ink that said rejected, and I'm allergic to red ink, so of course I had a rash in that form for quite a while. It was mostly words. I mean, you can ignore words and they can hurt you, and it does grind you down over time, but it can't harm you unless you let it inside. It doesn't actually physically damage you. Words are just words and they are really upsetting, but if you can see that the person saying them is the person who's horrible, someone doesn't make you horrible by saying something nasty to you. And I learned really early on that one of the ways around it was I was going to prove to myself that I wasn't horrible. I started organising things, so I'd organise a really good party for my whole year at school, and then people would really like that, and I'd have done this thing that brought us all together. And I thought to myself, well, I can't be a bad person. And I had this demonstrable thing I could look at and say, you know, this is really good. And I'm a nice person, I go around helping people, and I don't let myself be miserable, and I just keep moving forward. And it also really distracted me and gave me people to be with when there was no one to talk to at school. And it just made it really easy to see that it wasn't my fault. It was this thing that was happening to me, and it wasn't something that I was doing to make it happen. I was choosing to be a good person, I was choosing to be a nice person, I was choosing to help people, and people were being horrid to me. And that wasn't because I was horrid, that was because they were horrid. And it doesn't matter what they can say what they like, and that makes it about them, and it doesn't make it about me. I think the important thing for me was it wasn't any fun at the time, but it wasn't the end of the world because I didn't let it be the end of the world, which is not to blame anyone for when it gets on top of you, because it gets on top of all of us. But I think if you can find a way to make yourself see that it's not you, it's them, I think that's a big answer in a lot of situations. And I went to school with these awful people, but then I left school and I never saw them again, and I had this wonderfully happy life. I went off to uni and I made I met just the best people. There are always people who you're not going to get on with, but I've never had the same problems since.